So this new moon that's happening in Leo on the 16th of August is a little bit spicy and a little bit more changeable, and I'm going to say chaotic, but maybe in an exciting way than we normally would have expected for a typical new moon in Leo. Hi, my name is Crystal Lynn. I'm your modern magic mentor. I run the Modern School of Ancient Wisdom. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about this new moon and all of the astrological details that go into it. So we're going to dive right in. I'm going to share my screen and show you the chart for this new moon on Luna software, which is lovely. So as we dive in, we're looking at, again, the new moon, which by nature is a conjunction of the sun and the moon in a certain sign. That creates a new moon. When they're at opposition with each other, we get a full moon, and then there's everything else in between. So we're looking at a new moon on this day, on August 16th at 5:38 a.m. I use Washington, D.C. because that helps me get an idea of maybe the location that represents our country the best, but you can use your specific location and see how the chart really lines up for you. Location is going to change where Leo appears on the chart, depending on how early it is in the day. We can see that the sun is low on this chart, knowing that it is beneath this AC, the ascendant line. So if you're looking at the chart and you see this as a straight line from the AC to the DC or descendant line, we see this as the daylight sky and the nighttime sky. So the sun has not quite risen yet by the time the new moon is perfect for this place in the country. Now, for other locations, the sun might be further back because it's earlier in the evening for them, or it's later in the day for them. Depending on your location, the sun will be in a different part of the day. And that's kind of what we're looking at when we look at the chart moving like that. That's the whole way it works. So this is a nighttime chart, 5:38 a.m. The sun has not risen yet. And so what we're looking at is the sun and the moon conjunct each other perfectly at 23 degrees and 17 minutes of Leo. And so what we want to look at here, and it's really nice to be able to take like all of this busyness out and just click on the moon and say, okay, focus. What's the moon up to? The moon is in Leo, which is the sun's domicile. So it's received by the sun. The sun is doing a lot of work with that and saying like, I own this place and we are together here. So this is really going to mark this. We don't have to answer to anybody else as far as rulership and tone goes. It is very solar new moon. So this brings things up to the front like passion, leadership, our desires, the things that make us feel confident, the things that make us feel like we can share with others. Again, Leo tends to be quite the leader, thinking about the symbolism of a lion. So they have a lot of confidence. They have a lot of pride, which lets them guide other people, which lets them be a leader, which lets them shine light the way the sun does to illuminate things. And also the burning passion that comes along with Leo, embracing things, having fun. All of those things are themes that might come up, and especially depending on where Leo is in your chart. So if you have a chart that is also Leo rising like this, then this is very personal to you. It's your personal life. It's your personal physique, possibly physique, but I'm also trying to say appearance. So it's your personal appearance. You might decide to do something new with the way you look today, or do something new with your wardrobe. My recommendation is to dress in a way that feels totally like you without regard for what other people might think, because that will make you feel the most expressed. And that's kind of what's important here. And knowing this, if we're looking at the lines already, as some of you may have been doing, we see that also at the 23rd degree is Uranus. Uranus is characteristically an unpredictable planet, seems to incite evolution, tends to bring about revolutionary ideas, innovation, a lot of genius, kind of epiphany kind of moments. So this square with Uranus brings action to it. A square is of the nature of Mars. So we see this as something that brings action. Sometimes that comes through conflict because we tend to take action when there is conflict. So we might notice that there is some kind of surprise that happens, especially with Uranus kind of having the upper hand here over this new moon. Uranus is saying, hey, something's about to change. It's going to change probably pretty quickly, and it's going to be in a way that maybe we didn't expect it to change, but it starts today. So this is something to keep in mind in your own life. Again, seeing the areas of your life that are ruled by this new moon, by Leo. How is that functioning for you? Is it in your 10th house? So you might be making a career change or upgrade, and you might be changing the way you do your branding or the way that you want your reputation to look, something like that, changing people you work with or your clientele, anything like that would definitely fall under this umbrella. But again, as an astrologer, we always say when it comes to Uranus, anything we predict is probably going to be wrong because Mercury or Uranus does unpredictability. So just be prepared to roll with the punches, be excited about what new paths are likely going to open up with this. And then on the same day, if we come over to Uranus, we're going to notice that while Uranus is affecting this new moon, we also have someone else who's going to interact with Uranus this day. By the end of the day, Mars will move from the 22nd degree to the 23rd. And while Mars is actually not able to be seen by the new moon, since they're right next to each other, they're too close to each other to actually see. It's like a blind spot in a car. Mars is able to very easily see Uranus. So they are able to work together very easily. So again, showing that ambition, that action, Mars focused on really getting things organized and maybe cleaning things out to make space for something brand new, and very excited about organization, function, efficiency, those kinds of things, supporting health. Even depending again on where Virgo is in your chart, Mars has been dealing with that for the last few weeks. So you'll already know what Mars and Virgo has been doing. Now we're activating that. Now we're bringing some other change or function or surprise that makes it happen possibly quicker, that brings you closer by a leap to where you're headed. So keeping those things in mind, we see that this new moon is not just about a new moon in Leo, it is about the drastic change, the surprises that are coming our way. In mundane astrology, one of the things I would look at, especially looking at this, is the fact that Venus retrograde is so close to this situation. I think in a couple of days, we're really going to see some new things unfolding with the writer's strike and the actor's strike. That is something I will likely be covering for my Patreon patrons in the bonus video that we'll be doing for this month. So if you want to hear more about how that is really syncing up with the transits and how we can actually plot out the progress of it, everything from the start to the middle to predicting where it might go next, I will be explaining that for the patrons on my special video for them that does mundane stuff and really just makes sense of what's happening in the world around us. So you can check out the Modern School of Ancient Wisdom Patreon to be able to join that. I'll link it down there so you won't have to worry about it. So we're looking at some new things happening, changes in information that we might be aware of, changes in resources that support identity. So again, it's what I have. This is what I can work with. And we notice that we suddenly are more relying on what we can build with what we've got rather than trying to accrue things with the goal that we originally had in mind. So when I look at this chart, some things that I think about are the fact that we see radical self-creation, evolution of confidence, surprising ourselves in some ways. Maybe you do something that you didn't realize was within your potential, but it certainly is. Suddenly putting yourself out there in whatever area of your chart Leo is putting ruling. Again, if this is your 10th house, you might suddenly put yourself out there in a way that you weren't expecting to do, but hopefully works out really well for you. And an affirmation that I would like to offer is, it's safe to be seen and recognized for my genius and my difference. It is safe to be seen and recognized for my genius and my difference. This is the sun in Leo, making it safe to be seen and recognized, but then the genius and the difference coming from all of that activity with Uranus. Things that you can do to apply and work along with this new moon, if you're interested in working intentionally with it, is if you get an opportunity to stand out or to try something new and different, consider how you feel about taking it. I'm not saying say yes immediately. I'm saying this is an opportunity for you to check in with yourself. Again, that decisive and precise Mars and Virgo with this trine here is saying, okay, I have the resources. Is this the path that I want to take? Deferring back to that new moon in Leo. So if you find that you have this opportunity that comes out of nowhere, think about how you would feel saying yes, and then make a decision that works best for you. Because sometimes the most radical Uranian thing we can do is also to say no. Sometimes it is to say yes. So knowing your unique situation, and I will be posting horoscopes on TikTok and Instagram, so you'll be able to find them there. But knowing your situation, your resources, your desires, how are these new things, this new information, these new updates around you informing you on what it is that you want to do and showing you who you want to be? and allowing you to be the person that you want to be ultimately in the long run. This is a new process we are beginning of becoming. So feel free to do all of the things that you want to do. If you would like my help with figuring out astrology in the traditional format, as well as traditional folk magic and some psychic and intuitive work as well, I do have the Modern Ancient Magic, Ancient Wisdom, Modern School of Ancient Wisdom, which incorporates astrology, intuitive ability, and folk magic practices in coursework, in the Patreon, and one-on-one with me in whatever way you feel is most accessible and most aligned with your personal journey and your personal growth. Wherever that leads you today, I hope it feels totally aligned and amazing for you. And I hope you have a fantastic new moon in Leo.